What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? This is your boy is Nefarious with another episode of GM Nef taking on an NHL 25 franchise and with the Boston Bruins. Right now, we are still with the Boston Bruins going into the playoffs against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Please, if you're enjoying the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does well for the channel. Let's move on to the playoffs. Costellic, Geeky both score in the first. We end up giving up 5 goals in the second, and in the third period we're gonna sim here 6-4 right now. Nick Paul makes it 6-7 with Gergeson's 7-4, 8-4. We get blown out in our first playoff game, rightfully so. I don't think this team is exactly what it needs to be a playoff team. Geeky had 2 points, a really good game from him. We had a couple of guys with 2 points. Swayman came in, gave up 5 goals. Korpisalo had to come in relief, so you could tell the goalies were not where they needed to be at, specifically Swayman, when Korpisalo had to come in. So jumping into game 2, can we bounce back after that loss? We got Lohrei, who scores in the first. We got Kucherov and Glendening, who add 2 goals for the Lightning, and then your final score is going to be 2-1, as you can see there. A loss this week, so we are now this game we are 0-2 going into the third game. And taking a look around the league, you got Edmonton up 2-0, Dallas up 2-0. You got 1-1 between the Kings and the Knights. You got the Predators up 2-0. You got us down 0-2, Panthers up 2-0, and a couple ties at the bottom of there on the Eastern Conference. You got us going up 1-0 in this third game, Kepke. Then we have Middlestat and Braden Point both scoring to make it 2-1. Slow sim, Nick Paul puts one by Swayman to make it 2-2. Can we get our first win, or will this be a clean sweep type of series against the Tampa Bay Lightning? They are the better team, but we're holding our own. We're going into overtime. Can we get the win? We got Middlestat ending it in overtime. The newcomer Casey Middlestat with the goal there. You can see Zadorov had 2 assists, Middlestat 2 goals. You had Swayman, who had 40 plus saves and a great game from him, giving us our first win of the playoffs. And if we are going to go far, it is going to be on the back of Jeremy Swayman. Jeremy Swayman will need to carry us as we go into game 4, trying to come out with a win. You got the Panthers up 3-0, Edmonton's up 3-0, a couple series still 2-1, very close, ours included. We got Tampa Bay going up 1-0 with Yanni Gourde. We got Lohrei and Lindholm in the second period helping us out, and then here in the third you got Wahlstrom scoring to give us a 3-1 lead. Can we hold on to this lead? Can Swayman continue to carry us in this series? 3-1 is your final. Swayman doing his job, Pasternak doing his job with 2 assists. You got a 1 point from a bunch of other people, but Pasta and Swayman, 2 guys that are essential for us to carry out this playoff series and potentially make it to round 2, as the Edmonton Oilers end their series beating the Winnipeg Jets 4-0 with a sweep. You got the Panthers beating the Maple Leafs 4-0 sweep once again. They're looking to make it a repeat. They're doing really well and having a good series. You got Nashville up 3-1. You got a couple series tied 2-2. Jumping into this next game, you got Cirelli and Perbix giving the Tampa Bay Lightning an early lead, and then they add onto it in the second period to make it 5-2. Costellic makes it 5-3. Can we come back with under 10 minutes to go? Can this Boston team show some resilience, show some fight? Nope. Nick Paul adds 1 more. Lindholm also adds 1. 6-4 your final score. A bunch of players with 1 point, not a lot of players with multiple points, just everybody getting involved. Swayman gives up 5 goals. Like I said, we need him to carry us, and that was the complete opposite of what we needed when it comes to Jeremy Swayman. And taking a look around the league once again, you got the Predators winning 4-1 to go on to the next round. You got Tampa Bay up 3-2, Rangers up 3-2. You got the Pittsburgh Penguins up 3-2. You got the Kings up 3-2 and the Stars up 3-2. So a bunch of teams looking to close out their series this next day or this next game. We got our game here. Do we get eliminated here in game 6? Can we show some more fight? Can this team that's been trying to overcome and kind of be a Cinderella story, can they prove that they're meant to be in the playoffs? As we jump into this game, you got Kushnadinov starting us off 1-0. You got Geeky and Yokiharu adding 2 more, and then they get 1 themselves. So 3-1 going into the third. We got the lead. Can Swayman close it out for us? Can this Bruins team show they could play some defense late in the game? Yokiharu adds an empty netter. That's going to do it. 4-1. Yokiharu with a good game. Kusnadinov had a goal and an assist. Wallstrom with 2 assists. And you had Swayman, who had 23 saves on 24 shots. So Swayman did his thing in that game. Definitely what we need. Moving on to Game 7. As you can take a look around the league, the Kings closed out their series against the Knights 4-2. You got a bunch of teams tied 3-3, including the Rangers and Senators. Jumping into Game 7, can this Boston Bruins team overcome the uphill battle that they have? After the second period, it is 3-2. The Bruins up. Lindholm, Brown, and Pasternak score. Perbix and Kucherov score for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that is going to be your final as the Boston Bruins somehow, some way win this series. I'll tell you how. Jeremy Swayman, once again, 30 saves on 32 shots, did his thing, carried us to the second round. Will it continue? We got some injuries, though. Kepke goes down with an injury, so Lettieri has to come back in, play that third line right wing as we move on to the next series, which will be against the Florida Panthers of all teams. Taking a look, you got the Oilers and Kings, you got the Predators and Blues, you got us and the Panthers, and you got the Rangers and the Islanders with the Battle of New York. Who is going to make it to the conference final out of these 8 teams? It's going to be fun to watch. Taking a look at some of the stats, you got Lindholm, who has 6 points. Taking a look at the entire league, looking at the goalies specifically, it's 964 for Bobrovsky, having a really good postseason so far, carrying the Florida Panthers. He's got under 1 goals against average. Dreider there as well, having a good showing in the playoffs. Taking a look, Swayman's a little far on the list, not at the top. If we want to continue in these playoffs, we need Swayman to be to the top of the list for goaltenders. So hopefully he catches stride with that last game, only letting up 1 goal, letting up 2 goals. The last 2 games, letting up 3 goals in both games. So hopefully he could carry that momentum going into the series as we take on the Florida Panthers. After 2, it is 1-1 in this third period. Will there be a hero? Will it be Marchand? Will Marchand be the one to kind of give the Panthers a lead against the Boston Bruins? It's crazy playing the Panthers here in the playoffs and have to deal with Marchand on the Panthers. As you see, Verhaeghe scores an OT to end it. 2-1 is your final. Taking a look at some of the stats, you got Pasternak, who had an assist. You got Zacha, who had a goal. Swayman gave up only 2 goals. You can't ask for much more than that, but we come out with a loss in OT. So 0-1 in this series. You got the Kings up 1-0 against the Oilers. You got the Predators up 1-0. You got the Rangers in the Battle of New York up 1-0. Taking a look at this next game, we got Luosterainen starting it. Sam Bennett and Luosterainen adding to the lead, 3-0 going into the third, and we sim the third period and we lose 3-2. Your final score. The Panthers come out with another victory. Wallstrom with 2 assists, Pasternak with an assist. Swayman, not good enough. 3 goals on 30 shots. Definitely want better from your goalie, especially in the playoffs. Moving on, Kushnadinov is going to be injured. Kushnadinov gets injured in that game, so now we need an answer at center. So who is going to be the answer? Because we don't have anybody right now with injuries, so we have to go down to one of the young kids in the AHL. Can it be Patras? I think that's the safest bet, so we're gonna go with Patras. Let's go with Patras. He's gonna take that third line center position between Lauko and Lettieri. Maybe he could give us a spark in this series after going down 0-2. You know, we need something. We need some momentum to carry on as we take a look at Lindholm, who's got a hell of a contract that we got to deal with. And, you know, he's got first line center money, so we have him there playing that first line center. But let's get into the next game. Game 3, down 0-2. Can we come back? You got the Rangers up 2-0, the Predators up 2-0. Everybody's up 2-0. Kings up 2-0 on the Oilers of all teams. So taking a look at this game, we got the Bruins going out 1-0 with Brown scoring, then Lindholm adds another, so 2-0. So the addition of Patras adds a little spark to this team. Kachuk is going to try to get the Panthers back in it. 1 goal to go. Can they get it with under 5 minutes to go? And we get the win, 2-1. We move on to 1-2 in this series. As you can see, we got a bunch of guys with 1 point, 5, 6 guys with 1 point. Beecher being one of them. Lindholm had a good game. He was a +1. So 2-1. Big win there. And look at Swayman. Like I said, needs to carry this team. 31 saves on 32 shots. Hell of a job by Swayman. So going into the next game, Koepke is back. But the question is, do we put Koepke back in? Who's better for us? Is it Lettieri or is it Koepke? Is it Patras? How's Patras doing? Taking a look at Koepke, 2 goals and a -1. A little bit better than Lettieri, if we're being honest. So we're going to put him back in and go into our next game. Game 4, can we tie it up? You got the Rangers up 3-0, you got the Predators up 3-0, and you got the Oilers finally getting on the board just like us. You got the Panthers going up 2-0. Barkov and Stern both scoring the first. You got Bennett scoring in the second. Third period, can we complete a comeback? Can we push this game to 2-2, or the series to 2-2? It doesn't look like it. Under 5 minutes to go. That's going to be the end of the game. 3-0. We get shut out by Bobrovsky. Hell of a game by him. Taking a look, you got a couple of guys with -2. Swayman did his job, but just got outplayed. 3 goals on 39 shots for 36 saves, which is not a bad game for Jeremy Swayman. We need that, but unfortunately, we are the lesser team when it comes to the offensive skill. As we go back and edit some of the lines, try to get some momentum going into this next game, see if we can keep our season alive. It's going to be tough, but maybe we can as Kuznetsov comes back into it. That's the huge reason why we're editing these lines. We don't want to get Kuznetsov back into the lineup. As we're taking a look at some of our options, do we go with Koepke? Do we go with Kostelic? Do we keep Brown still in there? Who is the best option? What are the best combinations? As we're going to go with Kuznetsov, Lauko, and Patras on that third line. Patras moving to right wing as Kuznetsov takes over at center. Lauko playing pretty bad, so we're going to move him down to -7 so far. We're actually going to sit him, put Koepke in, put Brown at center, and then you're going to have Beecher move up to that left wing on the third line. So that will be the new lines with Beecher, Kuznetsov, Beecher, and Patras, because Beecher is a better center than Patras, and Kuznetsov, even though all three play center. Beecher's definitely better at faceoffs. Taking a look at the rest of the lines, you're going to keep pretty much the same. We're just going to make one little move here. We're going to move Zacha to that second line. I don't know how I feel about it, but let's try it. We're going to go with Zacha on that second line. So those are the new lines going into this game. Predators sweep the Blues in the second round to move on to the conference championship. Good job by the Predators, sweeping the Blues. That's a big surprise as Boston jumps up 3-0. Second period, 4-0. Can the Panthers come back? Pastrnak adds another goal here in the third period, 5-2. What a game so far after changing the lines. We made those changes and it worked out really well. 5-2 is your final score. Zacha had 3 points on that second line. Geeky had 3 points. You had 2 from Hampus Lindholm. You had a few guys with 1 point. Swayman with 30 saves on 32 shots, doing what he needs to do as a goalie in the playoffs. Lindholm, though, is going to go down. That is massive for the team. Having Lindholm go down in the most important series so far this season, most important time so far this season, Lindholm injured. So what are we going to do with lines now? Morgan Geeky on that left wing on the second line has been performing pretty good. Beecher, do we move him up? Do we just move Patras up, who's more of a natural forward? And Kuznetsov going down once again. What do we do there? So we got not only Lindholm down, which is one of our top forwards, but we also have Kuznetsov down. So Patras we're going to bring up to the first line to have him center in between Middlestat and Pastrnak. I like the skill on that line. Lauko is going to come back in as the fourth line left wing. Lettieri is going to move to center on that line. You're going to have Koepke be the left wing on that third line between Beecher, next to Beecher and Brown on the right wing. Definitely not where we want to be, but with injuries, we really have no choice. This is what we got to go with unless we brought up one of the kids. But at this point, and given this team, we're overachieving as it is. Do we bring up one of the kids? veterans? Is it worth bringing up a Lysell, a Minton, a Merkulov? Can any of these guys come up and kind of give us a extra boost? It's a tough call. Or do you just go with the veterans? We're going to stick with the veterans. We're going to leave the veterans in, try to ride out the series. You know, we just got a big win this past week. Can we continue that momentum? We are now down 3-2 in this series. Let's go into game 6. Can we get a win? Can we extend this series 2-0 already? Reinhart and Barkov both score for Florida. Going into the third period, Swayman not having the best of games. Lets up another one. Kachuk scores to make it 3-0. Beecher's trying to fight us back. 3-2. Wallstrom scores 3-3. Lori scores. It's 3-3. Can we win? What a comeback in the third. Down 3-0. And we win in overtime. Beecher with the game of his career. 2 goals. 1 in overtime, a game-winning goal in overtime, and the 1 in the third to kick-start this comeback. What a game, what a fight by this team. The Cinderella story continues as Swayman makes 27 saves on 30 shots. You definitely need better for Swayman in this next game if we want to continue to the next round. You got the Kings beating the Oilers with a surprise victory to move on to the conference finals. You got the Rangers in the Battle of New York winning against the Islanders. So whoever wins this one, we'll see the Rangers next round. 2-0, 3-2. Kachuk, Middlestat, and Beecher all score. What's going to happen here in the third period? Who is going to come out with the victory? Pasternak makes it 3-4. Marchand, of all people, makes it 4-3. Patrick Brown, though, ties it shortly after. Can we hang on? Luosterainen scores, and then Marchand with the empty netter to throw salt in the wound. Marchand scores the 6th goal, the empty netter to send us home and give us no chance of coming back. And Swayman did not do his job when it came to this playoff series. That's game 7. We needed a better goalie, a better version of Swayman, not a better goalie, because I think Swayman's a great goalie, but it's just a better version. So take a look at some of the stats. Pasternak led the team with 12 points in 14 games. You had Zaka with 11, Middlestat with 10, Geeky had 9. You had 7 from Beecher, who I think outperformed his overall and did more than we could have asked when it came to Beecher. Hell of a series, having 7 points there. Wallstrom as well, who had 9 points. Definitely played up to the level we needed him to. We just could not get the win. Swayman with a 9.18 save percentage, not enough for us. Taking a look at some of the goalies that are carrying their teams, you have Saros for the Predators. He has a 9.58 and a 1.22. He is otherworldly right now. Bobrovsky, who outperformed Swayman, is up there with a 9.25. You got Lafreniere, who has 16 points in 12 games. JT Miller with 16. Kempe with 15. You got 12 from Kreider. You got a bunch of guys with 12 there. You got Enstrom for the defenseman, leading the defense in scoring. Actually, leading all rookies. I mean, looking at the rookies, you got Enstrom leading all rookies with scoring. So the rookies performing here and there, and he's in the conference final with the Rangers. Rangers in the conference final with the Panthers. Panthers up 1-0. Predators up 1-0. After 2, Panthers tied up 1-1. We got the Predators up 2-0. So let's take a look at some of these two teams and see what they're looking like, honestly. So taking a look at the teams, you're looking at the Florida Panthers. They got Verhaeghe, Barkov, Kachuk, Marchand, Bennett, Reinhart. They got Frosling, Ekblad, Mikkola, Jones, Bolinskis, and Kulikov. A really solid team there. Taking a look at the goalies, you got Bobrovsky, who's playing really well in net. Taking a look at the Nashville Predators, or the New York Rangers, we'll actually go to. We'll circle back. Kreider, Miller, and Lafreniere. You got Panarin, Parsonen, and Cooley. You got Kaliev, Carrick, and Brodinsky. You got Vikanainen, who's a defense playing center on that fourth line. You got Schneider and Miller. You got Dahand and Borgen. You got Sosi and Jones. A bunch of good teams there, a bunch of good defensemen, there with a good team overall with Shesterkin in net. Taking a look at the Philadelphia, going back to Nashville, you got Saros in net, who's playing otherworldly right now. You got Stamkos, Forsberg, and Montresal. You got Bunting, Ryan O'Reilly, and Smith. You got LaRoe. You got Sissons on that third line. You got a really good team. You got Shea, Yossi, Lauzon, Barron, Delgazzo, and Blackenberg on the defense. So a really solid team, definitely being carried by that goalie though, because this team compared to the other teams shouldn't be in the place it is right now. We'd even look at the Kings. The Kings have a solid team. We could have looked at them. Maybe we'll take a look at them here in a little bit. But the Predators up 2-1 on the Kings. You got the Rangers up 2-1 on the Panthers. Who is going to win in each conference game? You got the Predators up 3-1. You got the Predators are now up 3-2. The Panthers up 3-2. Who is going to win? Your Stanley Cup final is the Predators and the Panthers, both winning 4-2 in that series. Taking a look at some of the league leaders after those series. JT Miller's got 20 points in 18 games, no longer in the playoffs, but he tried his best to carry the Rangers. Stamkos with 17 points, having a good playoff run so far. Saros though was the story. 942 and a 174, absolutely insane. You got Sorokin with a 935. You got Bobrovsky who has a 930 and a 19. Two goalies playing at the top of their game right now, and who is going to come out on top out of those two goalies? It is going to be a great series to follow. So the Panthers have a chance to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. Can they do it? They're up 1-0 on the Predators. The Predators tie at 1-1. What is going to happen here? What is going to happen? Will the Panthers repeat? Will the Predators have a good run here? As you can see, it shows our season tickets from this past season, doing a pretty good job, 91% sold. We're gonna mess with some of the numbers here. Nothing too crazy. Want to be able to sell more tickets come next season. The Panthers take a 2-1 lead on the Predators. Can they repeat? Can they repeat? That's the main question. Will this become a dynasty? 3-1. Will Marchand be a hero for the team? Predators trying to fight back. Will they be able to? Will Saros be able to carry them back into it as they make it 2-3, 3-3 after game 6? Who is going to win game 7? Taking a look at the scores, 6-0 in the first game, 2-1 in the second game, 4-1 in the third. You had a 3-0 win and then a 4-1 win. Now to game 7. Who is going to win? If the Predators win, it will be on the back of Saros. It's usually a goalie that wins it all for a team. Will it be Saros? Will it be Bobrovsky in this game? It'd be nice if we could click on it and watch it. And your Florida Panthers are your Stanley Cup champions back to back, and the Hershey Bears take the AHL Cup. What a series, what a playoff run. The Panthers are starting to form a dynasty. Farming a dynasty, the Florida Panthers are, and we're gonna sim all the way to the draft. We're probably not gonna do the draft in this video. Taking a look at the salary cap, you got it going up to 94 million for next season. Will we have a good draft? Find out next episode when we tackle the draft, tackle free agency, and try to build this team into a Stanley Cup contending team. But speaking about the draft, let's take a look at the draft order. It's gonna be San Jose getting the first overall pick, Columbus via Minnesota second overall, Chicago drops to third, Anaheim, Philadelphia, Carolina, Montreal, Calgary, Detroit, Washington, Columbus, Utah, Seattle, Montreal, Buffalo, and Vancouver is your top 16. San Jose getting the first overall pick again after getting Macklin Celebrini, who had a phenomenal season, or a really good season for a rookie. Will they have somebody to pair up with him? With Porter, Martone there, you got Schaefer, you got Haggins, you got some options. You got Roger McQueen. We're going more towards where we might be in that 20th range. Maybe somebody falls like Lakovic. McQueen, maybe he falls. He looks really solid. You got Carter Amico, who actually looks like our type of defenseman, 6'6". Will he be the guy that we get? Just a bunch of different questions that we'll have. As you can see, all question marks. We don't know the overall. We don't know the potential. We have no clue. We don't have gems. We got some scout recommendations, but other than that, we don't know nothing. This is going to be the tough part of not having a scout. You kind of get an idea about the players in the league, but without scouts for amateur, you have no clue. We'll be taking shots in the dark. Hopefully picking some solid guys based on stats in other leagues. Maybe we tend to lean more towards the guys that play in Russia, the guys that play in Liga, the guys that play in that A+ competition. As you can see, you got a bunch of coaches retiring. You got the retired players going as scouts. A bunch of moving pieces. Taking a look, I wanted to go through some of the progress that we had from the team over this past season. With focusing on the rookies, you have Lysell, who's progressed pretty nicely. He's now a 79. Mittens progressed pretty nicely, now a 79 as well. Kustandinov's at 81. Taking a look at Laterno, he is beyond all means performing like a top prospect when it comes to progression. He's already up to 77, probably going to earn him a contract this offseason. He's the future for us. We need some defensemen probably in the draft, but it's nice to see the development of some of these young guys like Mitten, like Lysell, like Kustadinov that went up by 9 and now is at 81 overall. He's doing the best he can, and he's showing us that he could earn a spot on the team. Patras is now at 82. He went up by 7. Zaka, actually, I don't know if that's progression or regression. He went up by 1. Wallstrom, not much. That's progression for Zaka. As you can see, the green one. Wallstrom as well gets a little progression. He's at 82 overall. So we got some answers on this team. We got some decent pieces, but we definitely need to get better on defense. I don't think we see any defensemen really jumping up here, when it comes to progression. As you can see, a lot of zeros. Lindholm still at 86. Geeky didn't progress. Peak didn't progress. He's one of our younger guys. Beecher didn't really progress after having a great playoffs. It would have been nice to see him progress. Guys like that would have been a nice little cherry on top. But at least we're getting a little bit of development from these guys. Mitten being one of those guys that just came over in the trade. So we want these guys to be the focal point of our future, because we overperformed and made the playoffs. We won't have a high draft pick, so we're going to count on a lot of these younger guys that we have in the AHL and the NHL to really be those guys for us. Brett Harrison had 15, went up by 15. Myron Berg was the best defenseman, and he's not even close to sniffing an NHL lineup, and he's 22, so we don't have an answer there. Let's take a look at some of our owner goals, because remember, we got to complete those to maintain in our position. As you can see, we went 4 for 4, so that's a huge thing for this series and a huge thing as a GM to go 4 for 4 on those owner goals. But that's going to do it for this week. Tune in next week when we take on the draft. I am your boy, Is the Fairest, and I am out of here.